Turn up the volume.
All right, welcome to SLT. It's been a long time, a long break. The last we met each other was, let's say, somewhere around end of December, or right before Christmas. I thought of taking a short break, but it looks like the break kind of extended a little longer than expected. But hey, it's all good, man. 2021, welcome to the show, season 2 of Something Like That with NAV. And on today's show, the first show of the year, I got this awesome kick-ass band. This guy's is super awesome, and they're not exactly new. They've been around the block for quite a while now. They had their previous album released somewhere around 2019, and they're back with a brand new single, which was released last month, if I'm not mistaken, called Skyfather. And they're on the show today. It is none other than Mothflesh. Let's bring the whole gang on board. I got Imran, I got Giri, I got Shafiq, I got Easy. I know I'm missing somebody out here, but we'll wait for him to come on board. Is that okay?
Sure.
You guys all good? All comfortable?
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Good. You look more relaxed. So how has 2021 been so far for you guys? Because I know it's only been, 13 days, but how's it going? Good? Bad?
Yeah, I would like to cancel the subscription.
It is when you thought 2021 everybody's going to come in with a bang, and then it's a vacation for everybody. Man, it's a bummer indeed, man. It's a bummer indeed. But hey, let's hope for the best, lad. So far, they said 2 weeks. I hope they don't extend it for another 2 months or so on, which might be the plan. You never know, man. Anyway, let's get to know the band, Mothflesh. You guys, like I said earlier, you're not brand new to the scene. You've been there. You've been rocking stages not only locally, but also internationally. And you were out with a brand new single, which was released in December 2019, right? Skyfather? Hey, 2020. Sorry, I lost track of time. Well, let's get to know about the band a little bit more here. Let's find out who's who in the band, because I know there's some changes. Have there been some changes from the last album?
Yeah.
Okay. So the one that's late is the one that is the new member.
It's the new member. Fashionably late.
Oh man, but no worries. We come in with this, plug him in. But anyway, let's find out who's who in the band, man.
Okay, hi everyone. I am Imran. I do vocals.
Cool.
Okay.
Hey guys.
I'm Shafiq. Yeah. Okay. Go on, Giri.
Yeah, I'm Giri. I play guitars for the band.
Cool, man.
Okay, I'm Shafiq. I play the drums. Yeah.
And I am Easy, and I play the bass.
Nice. So the person is missing. Who is he, and what does he do?
Runway, or as the scene knows him as Mad Dog. He plays guitar, alternate leads and rhythms with Giri.
Oh, cool. That's nice, man. All right, for the benefit of our listeners down here, if you've been in the scene down, especially in the Malaysian rock scene, Mothflesh, like I said, they were no strangers, but just in case, if you want to get to know them more, these guys, started off, when does the whole band Mothflesh actually started off?
Officially, we started on the January of 2018, because when we started, I met Easy introduced Giri, and then the previous guitarist, but we were jamming without a permanent drummer. So I had this friend Adam from university that filled in for like a couple of jamming sessions, and then Giri happened to have seen Shafiq previous band before. So he suggested that why not we ask this Tunku Shafiq to try it out, and on the first jamming we kind of had that chemistry going on already, and this was January 2018. So when Shafiq got in the band, we officialized it as that time we weren't called as Mothflesh. We were still going on with some experimental names, but the lineup was official then. So January 2018 official date when we started.
Okay, and the album, the first album, right? Nocturnal Armor?
Yeah, first album.
Let's talk about that album first before we get on to the brand new single. That album, I kind of love it, especially with a track called Swordfish. It was your first single, right?
Giri, you wanna take over?
Nah, I don't think we could. Yes, we released Swordfish first as one of our initial singles,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's a very melodic song. I guess a lot of things going on. Very different from our music video, which was Gravity Kings.
It's actually rare to hear that you actually like Swordfish compared to the other
Yeah,
songs. So,
yeah.
I don't know. This is some because, like, I'll be honest with you. For me, when I listen to music, is about the songs that make me feel good. For some particular reason, I just felt connected with Swordfish. I don't know what. I don't know how. I just kind of liked it when I just tuned into the. It's like,
Right.
okay, fine, I like this track
Right.
more than. Not to say I don't like the rest. I just love this more. You know, that
Alright.
kind of thing. But
We get
also,
that. We get that a lot. Yeah.
yeah. Any reason why that song has caught the attention of many?
Not many, but with musicians, with people who play music, with people who actually play an instrument, they have a particular liking towards Swordfish. Whereas for Gravity Kings, which has a very different style as compared to Swordfish, when it's very straightforward, it's very simple, and it's a crowd pleaser song. That's our hit from Nocturnal Armor, Gravity Kings. We can say it's our hit, but amongst musicians, we seem to get a lot that they love Swordfish because of the musicality, the technicality behind it, and basically it's a well thought song. You know,
Yeah. Okay, and
it's
who's
also like
responsible
6 minutes.
of making that whole track?
Giri
Get it
and
easy. Oh, is it
Easy
Kelvin?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it was
and
me,
yeah.
Easy, and Kelvin. Yeah, our
Oh,
previous
okay,
member
cool.
Kelvin. Yeah.
And you've toured a lot with that particular album, right? Since the release of that particular album, you did some touring, not only locally, and also you did it in Southeast Asia. The countries that you have toured was, if I'm not mistaken, was it Cambodia, Vietnam,
Cambodia, Thailand, and
Cambodia.
Indonesia.
Yeah.
and how did that happen? Is it like were you invited to go and play there, or did you decide that okay, I'm just going to pack my bags and just want to take my music to another country and share it with the rest? How did that work?
Actually,
Easy.
just
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, easy. You wanna?
Because mainly Easy was the
Oh,
one that organized most of it internationally. Yeah. It
Yeah.
really
right. So I travel a fair bit for my work. And what I do is every time I go to a new country, or a new city per se, is I try to make an effort to go to either a local show of that country, be it any genre of music, be it indie, be it electro, be it metal or punk. Uh, but I tend to go to more of the punk venues and whatnot, and to see what the scene's like, who runs the show over there, and just network. Um, and fortunately for me, I was able to do that quite effectively in places like Vietnam and Cambodia. As for Indonesia particularly, that was because we befriended a band that actually came down to Malaysia, played a show at Rumah Api, uh, and these guys were based out of, if I'm not mistaken, it was Batam. Um, so we told the guys in Batam that we want to play a show in Indonesia, and they said come by. We went down there, we played a show, and they really liked this. They saw a lot of potential of us, and they gave us access to their network for the rest of Indonesia that's spread all the way from Jogja all the way up to Bandung, and that's how we actually just kind of did it. We used one individual to kind of leapfrog to another, and that just created this huge and vast network of metal musicians or punk musicians and underground musicians who allowed us to do this tour. We were actually supposed to go to Vietnam and Philippines this year, but sorry, last year, 2020, and that obviously got interrupted because of COVID. But really, oh, and we played in Thailand as well. And how we got into Thailand was just, us sharing our profile out to all these venues, telling them, look, we want to come down. We played in two venues in Thailand. It was Bangkok and Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai was a bit of an interesting one because we got the contact at Chiang Mai through our tour in Indonesia. So as you can see, it's not like something we plan. Uh, we plan concurrently. It's very organic. It happens very organically, naturally. So we play one show, and that mushrooms up to 2 shows, which mushroom up to 4 shows. Yeah, that's it. That's how we did our tour effectively, just through organic word of mouth and tenacious networking.
And also, another thing that I'd be curious, because I've chatted with some of the bands that have been traveling. Of course, some of them were actually sponsored. The cost of the entire thing of the tour is being paid by a specific company or maybe certain labels, but some of them it comes out from your own pocket money. And in your case, how did that work about?
We used our own money. There is band funds as well, but
Self-funded.
mostly our self-funded. Yeah.
Yeah, but so you can look at it as your own promotion and marketing campaign, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
But how was the response like for a Malaysian band, a hardcore metal band, playing in another venue altogether, taking Malaysian music, or rather you can see some of the Malaysian style there in terms of the rock performances, and playing in another country, different languages altogether, and performing? How was the acceptance level for these countries?
Better than we get here.
Yeah.
Better than we get here. Because because we don't fit into a mold here, so we can play with punk bands, we can play with hardcore bands, we can play with thrash bands, death metal bands. So when we have this experience locally, we bring it outside, we just be ourselves. We're so used to that. We don't have to try to be anything. So when we brought that to overseas, anywhere we go, like in Thailand, we played 2 shows, right? Like as Easy said, one show is a metal show, one show is a punk show. But both, actually, the punk show we got better reception, mainly because there were a lot more people. But yeah, just to answer your question, it's better reception outside than locally.
No, but seriously, why is that different when it comes to when the local platforms you perform? Because this question I popped into several bands, rock bands especially, I got pretty much the same answer. It's like, why do you think that it's difficult with the local guys down here?
The thing is the appreciation of supporting the local scene versus someone in a different country who's actually is excited or willing to see another band from a different country to go and play in their country. So it's the feeling of the appreciation is a lot different. The level of appreciation is a lot different.
Okay, because I'm surprised. I do check out gigs occasionally, once in a while, metal gigs and so on, and I find that people are kind of participating when it comes to the bands. I mean, you could feel the energy going on, but to my surprise, but that's not the feedback I get from the bands. What do you think? What do you think that should be done to actually change that mindset or mentality for the so-called local crowd?
But
So
you know
I
what
have a pretty hot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Just to tell you that we only realize that in the cities, because locally, if we play, say in Rawang or even in like some place in Malacca or Johor, people can go crazy. But in KL and Selangor, I guess it's because of the frequency of gigs that are going on. It's the appreciation level kind of like depleted a bit, compared to places where it's hard to find gigs, it's hard to watch bands, and when there actually is a gig, they go crazy. Yeah, sorry, Easy.
Oh yeah, sorry. So I have a pretty hot take on why we don't support our local music scene, and I think for me it comes down to more of a psychological understanding or awareness of what it means to be Malaysian. I think we have a huge identity issue, and I think Malaysia has pretty much been on a like a social and economic context in the shitter, for the last 10 years or so. So like, I think the general faith we have with our fellow Malaysians have generally just kind of like dropped over the years, and anything that's just generally connected to Malaysian or the Malaysiana context is just looked at something that is either half cooked or just half-assed. So I think a lot of people just have this perception that if it's Malaysian, it's just not going to be as good as anything that's going to come in from another country. And I think that just comes down to like how we identify ourselves with arts and culture. There hasn't, to be fair, been anything significant in the last 10 years that was a game changer, in the art scene. In the last 5 years or so, though, like, yeah, I personally seen a lot of Malaysian bands actually break that mold, and I think that's great. But speaking for the rest of the Malaysians, or perhaps speaking from my assumption of the rest of the Malaysians, I think a lot of Malaysians just have very little faith in the art scene over here, and I don't particularly blame them. Also, there's this whole factor of like, oh, if it's from another country, it's got to be fresh, it's got to be new. And I
Okay.
think over here in Malaysia, we're just jaded by our everything that's local. That's just my opinion.
No, I've always thought it because it was the way things were projected. Even like for say, you talk about the media or how the whole thing has been sold out there. Let's take your genre of music for example. I find it that it's very rare that people push your genre, the metal scene or hardcore metal or melodic metal. In your case, it's what, groove metal, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So those kind of things, like whenever you see that, there's always the thing that, oh man, it's going to be trouble. Whenever you have gigs like that, it's always going to be trouble. So you don't push much of it, you don't publicize much of it unless it's something underground. So maybe that could be one of the factors. I don't know. I kind of think of it that way. Even radios, you hardly get much airplays on those kind of music, right? Because
We
looking at
made
the
the-
lyrics,
Sorry, we made the comparison with Indonesians when we were there. A weekly gig, satu kampung datang, bro.
yeah,
Yeah, all the neighborhood, everyone, all these punk kids, they just come. And another thing that separates us from the scene outside is because alcohol and all that are permitted. So people get drunk first. They get batshit crazy. Here it's a bit more controlled. So, and not a lot of people drink also. And that's only a minor factor, but it is still a factor. We can still factor that into why it's such a vast difference.
but
Yeah,
you have.
sorry.
Sorry.
It sets the mood basically. When you kind of have a bit more fun rather than just going to a gig and watch shows, you have these additional things on the side that you can actually boost up your enjoyment.
Yeah, it's a social gathering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. But you have toured locally also, right? Apart from KL and Selangor, you have done a couple of other states, right?
Yeah, we have.
How was the response on that part? Because since like you earlier in the conversation, you mentioned that KL and Selangor got kind of sick and tired of gigs and so on. So other states they appreciate it more. Did that happen in your case when you toured on other states?
Yeah, like in
Sarawak.
Eloska, Sarawak. Yeah, Sarawak was the best.
Sarawak's the
Sarawak
best.
was the best.
Locally, Sarawak's the best.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they drink there.
Yeah.
Sarawak has always been the party capital of Malaysia. Like,
Yeah,
so I kinda look at it.
Yeah. That's
Cool,
true.
man. But let's talk about your latest single called Skyfather.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
that, man. What's that all about? When did it
Medok,
start? What the
Medok,
idea was it?
Tego.
Let's go through the history lesson of Skyfather. What's it all about?
Skyfather actually started off as a joke because apparently Easy's friend won at a game with him. So he kind of like bet him, oh, your next song's got to be named Skyfather. And this was the time that I newly entered the band. So I was a little bit taken aback. I'm like, oh, so nonchalantly calling it, Skyfather. So I'm like, okay, cool. So Imran actually gave me the concept of a false deity or a false god promising things, but misleading and, being a very mischief, almost like a low-key counterpart, right? So that's the idea that we went with. And then me and Easy and the whole entire band slowly wrote the piece together. In fact, Giri had the original riff I was inspired by. And then we all kind of like coalesced together, wrote our writing styles together. And then we came up with this main riff that goes tigading, 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 tigading. So that's the one that kind of like, it's the hook of the song. So we slowly built it up, took a couple of months. MCO definitely helped because we, regularly did Zoom calls and, discuss things and
Yeah,
ideas and all
yeah.
that. Yeah. And
A lot
then,
of arguments.
That usually happens, isn't it?
Yeah, man,
See,
tensions
being
build
in a
up.
band is kind of
Yeah.
like being in a family, except you choose this family. So you kind of have to live with them and make things work as much as possible. And
Yeah.
we tried our best. What do you think about the song, actually?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you guys on the show, because it's been a while. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's like whatever's been fed on social media, the music playlists these days, has always been on the same usual tracks, especially when it comes to the Malaysian music scene. Nobody wants to take that risk or step up a little bit more and come up with tracks as such. I mean, there are. I'm not going to deny the fact there are music that's going on, but to go on a full-fledged and full releasing it and coming up with music videos and such, and then, well, those kind of things, it's kind of, you can actually count that there's a couple of bands only that does that, unless you know the scene pretty well. You hardly spot these tracks, this kind of thing. So that's one of the reasons why it caught my attention, especially the music video. Okay, it's been circling around on the Facebook, on social media. So that's one of the reasons I like wanted to have you guys on the show. It's like, okay, fine. It's been a while since found out or heard something from Mothflesh, and it's nice to get to know them a little more. So, music video, I'm pretty sure you had something interesting about that too, right?
Shafiq, go ahead
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah, well, I started off by randomly, my partner wanted to take a video of us just shooting us playing the song, but it was out of an artistic thing that he wanted to try out. But eventually, as we go near to the date, we're thinking about using it as a music video as well. So the way we planned it was very impromptu, but yet again, the way it was edited made it look pretty qualified as a music video. There wasn't much of a like a proper storyboard or anything like that. It was just a live performance thing, and we just showcase what we're playing. That's about it, basically. So yeah.
Cool. And also off air, we were talking about the song. What was it all about? And the details, the lyrics, and what made you write this particular song. Could you just tell us a little bit more about that?
Actually, we wanted to emphasize on two issues. First, like Lauren Bay said, the false deity and this societal disease that we like, a grandeur idealization of something, like a god or anything in that regard. But another thing that we wanted to emphasize is the people that actually follows. Okay, not necessarily. It depends on how you look at it. Not necessarily this being is playing tricks on you. This being wants to see if you are actually doing things according by the book, or you are doing things because you are actually doing things by the heart. You get what I mean? So, for example, to put it in simple terms, religion, any religion you are subscribed to, you think doing certain things, like you pray, you do certain things, it will lead you to the promised land. But what you forget, and I see this a lot happening, especially during this pandemic, you forget to be nice to each other. You forget that the most important thing is not all the actions that you do to get you to the promised land. It's how nice are you to your neighbor today? How have you greeted your parents today? Have you helped someone in need the best that you can? Are you trying to be the best human being possible at this time? Forget about the afterlife. So in the song, towards the end, Skyfather actually came down. It's basically Skyfather telling everyone, you know what, you guys have got it wrong all this while. Fuck you, I'm gonna burn Earth because humans are worthless.
Man, that sounds like a
Centuries,
movie.
yeah.
They should be making a movie out of it, man.
I think probably there is already a movie on that.
I kind of like the whole idea, but the best part is this: like a lot of people who don't understand the so-called the metal world, or metal genre, would just figure out something absolutely brutal when it comes to the lyrics or the meaning towards the song. But the way you've explained the whole thing, I'm definitely sure that everybody has to get the lyrics out. Is the lyrics available?
The lyrics
Anywhere?
are available if you watch it on YouTube. It's in this description because the lyrics we worked collectively together to make sure the concept that we want to convey is understandable enough through the lyrics. You know, and of course, like you play metal, you want it to have some sort of like a gore, like a brutal element. But in our band, our lyrics, our story needs to be a thinking man's lyrics or interpretation. It's not simply just okay. I kill you. Yes, blood. Let's go on a rampage and all that. It's a thinking man's game, you know. So we want you to understand, to dissect all these bits and pieces of what it is actually about. That's why we said earlier, it's up to your interpretation. Some people listen to Skyfather, read the lyrics, they have other interpretations of it. They might side with the mortals that, you know what, actually Skyfather is deceiving us. But other people might side with Skyfather and it's like, you know what, I understand why Skyfather is destroying humanity because humans are worthless, something like that.
Thanos, just snap the
Yeah.
finger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just snap the finger and everything's gone. Basically, you can take that metaphoric elements of Endgame on why Thanos did what he did.
Yeah, because you never know whether he's a bad guy or a good guy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this particular track, is it a teaser to what's to come for 2021? Is there an album coming out behind this whole thing? Is this going to be just like a one-off thing? Which one is it going to be? Is there any
No?
plans
It
for
will
2021?
definitely plans. Definitely there are plans moving. Between an EP or an album, we still haven't figured that one out yet. We have a few songs pretty much kind of written, but yet to be arranged properly or kind of laid up properly. So until then, nothing as of yet.
Mm.
You know, this whole MCO thingy or this COVID thingy for the past 2 years has messed things up very much for many bands. And of course, people are looking at alternatives in terms of marketing themselves or moving on with the music. What's the plans for Mothflesh? Are you guys having something in mind? Because, of course, you got to look at other alternatives, right? Instead of just waiting for the whole thing to just sort out and then get back to the gig scenes and things like that. Are there any plans as such for Mothflesh?
So, you want to go or you want me to go?
Go.
Oh, okay. So, we're looking at the timeline of things. So, Skyfather, it's very important for us to stress that Skyfather was also a song to introduce Ranveer to the music scene because Ranveer is now a new addition in the band, and Skyfather was on a compositional level a step in a more technical direction, and that actually sets the stage for the next release, which we're going to have, which is definitely going to be heavier, faster, harder, and more technically driven. We're going to be writing our songs in 7 strings at lower tunings, and we're going to try new things that we've not done before. Also, I think it's very interesting to highlight that both Ranveer and Shafik have started their own businesses where they run their own studios. So the added benefit of having their own studios allows us to experiment with recording techniques, recording styles, and also give us the creative space and freedom to try new things that we weren't able to do because of the time constraints set by recording at commercial places in Kuala Lumpur, commercial studios in Kuala Lumpur. Also, another interesting fact: Shafik mentioned his partner. The partner he was referring to was Ravi, who is a partner in Siren Studio, which is a studio Ravi, Shafik, and Eric Wong run collectively. He actually came up to us and offered to shoot our next song. And as a band, including Ravi, we actually did the whole music video in a very do-it-yourself effort and style. We brought our own lights in, our own power packs in, and the video itself is actually just shot in the jamming studio, where we actually practice. We just moved the amps around, we set the light, and I think Ravi did a fantastic job with the videography. And it just goes to show to any other bands or creative individuals out there who want to shoot music videos, it can be done by yourself with minimal gear. I think the technology has come to the point where everything's affordable these days. So go out there and do it. You know.
Nice, nice. In terms of live performances, the alternative, one of the things that's been done frequently these days is doing live streams and live shows. But is that a case for metal bands? Is that a possibility? Because the energy level will be completely different to have live shows for a metal band in comparison with some acoustic band or some R&B bands or some the live bands, the usual ones. But for metal bands, do you think there's a case or that there's a possibility to do something like that?
We were
Actually,
supposed to
Yeah, we were supposed to.
play on the 31st of this month, but then this
Yeah.
happened. So to answer your question,
MCO 2.0.
Yeah.
we haven't experienced how it would feel like on stage in front of a camera without a crowd. But I guess it's more of a mentality kind of thing that kind of have to prepare ourselves to kind of feel the energy through the cameras rather than having them in front of us supporting, So
But you guys have watched live streams of other bands performing live in terms of rock music. How do you find that personally, on a personal note?
Actually,
Mm.
just to point out that the gig that we were supposed to have on the 31st of January is supposed to be with this collective, metal collective, all the Otai metalhead, all the thrashers and all. And this is our first time actually playing with this bunch, So it's interesting to see this this group of metalheads at their age trying to incorporate live streaming into just to adapt to the current situation. It's very interesting to see that because like you mentioned, all this while it has been like acoustics or maybe like just blues, which most of it, a lot of young people right now are it's easy for us to understand this technology, but for if you're like above 40s, when you're so used to playing live gigs, suddenly this live streaming thing
You
hits
make it sound like being above 40 is like ancient, dude. Dude, I'm
No,
45 as well, dude.
it's not ancient. It's the approach. It's the approach. It's the approach
Dude,
because
I'm 42 and I don't feel that way, dude.
man, I'm surprised that you're 42. I thought probably you're early 30s. But no, what I'm saying is that but talking to the organizers, they were like, "Oh, we don't know if this is going to work or not, but they're going to try. This is something new to them." And for us, it's like, cool, we want to be on board. And in that, on the bill, we're the only bands that we're the only band that is new, like 3 years old. The rest have
Yeah.
been playing for 10 plus years.
Yeah, I know. I saw
Yeah.
Nurisinu as one of it, right?
Duricino, yeah, Farasu, all these like names who are Otaila in the scene, So we are these noobs that just came in, but we
I
find
wouldn't
a
say
common
noob lah,
ground.
maybe rookie. I wouldn't say noob,
Rookie lah.
maybe
No,
rookie.
in terms of our CV is still noob. Rookie. Yeah. I mean, we find a common ground where now it doesn't matter how old you are, which era you came from. Everyone has to adapt to live streaming now.
Cool, man. But
Yeah.
but enjoying the show, like I said earlier, you still haven't answered my question. Watching this particular set of performances, you've seen it before, right? How did you feel? I mean, as a band, what do you think that should be done more for the live stream? Because there's been a whole lot of it. The market is pretty much flooded with live stream shows. Is like what used to be once a week thingy now is like practically almost every day you can pop into one live stream. But as for band members, if you've been watching this, what do you think should be done to further improve this whole thing?
Better
hard
sound.
to
Well,
say.
Definitely better sound. Everybody needs to be mic'd up properly and mixed
Yeah,
properly.
true.
That's for sure. And then the visual effects of the whole stream should definitely be on another level because you have whole teams trying to make it happen, right? It's not a one-person job or a two-person job. So maybe a little bit of a background with moving lights or some sort of a projection. Like, how real big bands do their concerts? Like, for example, when Arc Enemy came over to KL years and years ago, they had an awesome live show. Like, if we could just encapsulate like maybe 10% of that feel of that show into a live stream, Yeah, that'll just make our live stream much better. But saying and doing are two different things, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's
because
hard to
also,
say at this
Um,
point. Mm.
I personally don't think live streams are effective at all. Before the advent of live streams, we've had people record their live set and already put it on YouTube, and we've got a bunch of bands we can see today that have multicam live shots already, and personally don't understand what is live streaming bringing on today that we've not had for the last 5 or 10 years. And to add on, and you're right, everyone is doing live streaming. So, what's really motivating people from going online and watch to watch a specific show these days? It's just sensory overload, in my opinion. There are too many people doing live streaming, and there's nothing really unique that live streaming isn't doing 10 years ago. And you asked another question as well, which was bringing that energy onto the stage. For a band like Mothflesh, where not only do we want to enjoy playing our songs, we actually believe and feel the songs themselves. So no matter where we play, be it on a live stream show or in a concert full of 200 people or even in the practice room, we bring that energy into the room because the music dictates it. So there's no way for us to play or practice in a certain way without bringing that energy on board. You can't play drums at a certain speed or play bass or play guitars with a certain intensity without actually believing in it and feeling it. So we're not worried about bringing that energy to a crowd or just to a person. We're gonna bring it either way.
nice. That's the answer that I've been looking for, because, like I said earlier, but these are the questions that I usually ask the bands, and every one of the common answer, I would say 98% of the bands that I've chatted with always say that the energy is not the same when you're doing it live. But in your case, I think it's absolutely different, which is something that I would definitely anticipate. But if you guys were to do some live stream, man, if that's supposed to be
Definitely in the
31st
future, definitely.
in the future, and I hope the whole package is out there. Anyway, once again, I have to say, I think it's almost time for me to wrap it up. I have to say big thank you for you guys, to all of you for coming on board the show, and thank you so much for chatting and getting to know your band a little better. And is there anything else that you'd like to share with your future fans, not the existing fans there, because I guess
Oh,
this podcast has a different group of audience altogether. So is there anything else you like to share with them?
Firstly, check our latest single, Skyfather. Yeah, we could use all the marketing that's available, like, and word of mouth, because we're relatively still new. So spread the word around. We have a new single that just came out a month ago, and we are currently working on a new album and practicing, hopefully, for few online gigs this year. But apart from that, we're only. It's hard to have high expectations at this time, because whatever we plan, like last year, we were so excited for Rockaway, and then it just got taken away from us like that. It's so
Yeah.
demotivating. So this year, we approach it in a positive light, but also in a realistic manner. We make sure what we set is achievable, and that we try to up our social media game, because we were quite under the radar on our first 2 years. Only the ones that have seen us play live know about us. Apart from that, we're basically unknown. But now, since we have focused more on promoting our music on medias as opposed to live shows, good to see that we get a positive reception for now.
Nice.
For now, yeah.
Nice, man. And looks like I forgot to read this message out. Sorry, guys, my webcam is not connecting for some reason. That was
Yeah,
Giri.
okay.
No wonder he was missing. I thought he was out there. I'm like,
The audio is there.
too bad, man. Anyway, once again, thank you very much, guys. Don't forget to check out Mothflesh, the brand new single called Skyfather is available. Do check them out on social media, which is Mothflesh. Just type it out on Facebook. You can check them out. The music is available on Spotify also. That's right. And make sure you click on the follow button. Share the music as much as possible. YouTube, there's a music video on YouTube. Check that out. And Well, get in touch with them if you have anything. And I also noticed something about your social media page. You have merchandises, right? Is it still
Yeah.
for sale, or is it
Yes, still for sale. Almost finished actually. So
almost
come
finished?
and buy more.
Oh man! And I'm guessing you don't have anything with 4XL, right?
No,
Yeah,
We can custom it,
we
no
got some
problem, bro.
requests. Yeah.
Yeah, come on, man, come on. I think it's about time people
Sure.
guys start focusing on people who's another plus size, man.
Sure,
You too
sure.
like
No
rock.
problem. No problem.
Just kidding, man. Once again, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very
so,
much,
so
now.
much
Thank you.
for coming
Thank you,
on
Nav,
board,
for
and
inviting us.
Thank you.
God bless.
It's a pleasure having
you.
you guys,
Yes,
man.
man.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Hope you can hear my voice, but I appreciate
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.